Happy anniversary.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not to unsettle you. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tap Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning. God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show is called First Things First. And my first thing today, tomorrow, and every day is giving thanks and praises, asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and getting it started. Happy Monday. We've got a lot to talk about. So the way we typically do things here on First Things First, with me, Dominique DiPrima, hour one, we go local. What's going on the left coast? Yeah, it's a bumpy Monday, but we gonna be all right. So we look to see what's happening left coast side of town. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive on a hot topic or a person of interest. And today we are right on that schedule, doing all of that. I want to thank everybody for the well wishes and, messages of encouragement. A lot of you know that this weekend, well, you may know because I said it on the radio on Friday, we finally got to lay my mom to rest, which is crazy because she passed in 2020. So I said she was like the James Brown of poets, only because it was, family politics and different things that, and COVID that made that turn out the way it did. But it was beautiful, it was blessed, it was amazing, and everybody was acting right, and anybody that has a family knows that's not a given. So it was a lovely and blessed occasion. So thank you all for the well wishes. And my mom is now at the Columbarium, which is an historic San Francisco building where they keep people's ashes. I said it's like a library, but for dead people. And she's next to her husband. So it was a beautiful weekend. And thank you guys for the space and grace to bounce a little early and take care of that. It's much appreciated. So, look, I know you still have things to say about DJT, he who shall not be named. We will definitely get to that. In hour three, we have Dr. E. Faye Williams, iconic attorney who can talk to us about, she's here to talk about Marilyn Mosby and the injustice going on there in Maryland, but also can speak with her legal expertise a little bit more on what's going on with the former president of the United States and his status now as a convicted felon. I'm being joined right now in the studio with the healthcare worker and small business owner. She graduated from the Emily's List Ignite Change Fellowship and the Los Angeles Democrats' inaugural TAP Academy, and now is a 2023 New Leaders Council Fellow. She ran for office. She was elected to the Neighborhood Council as an arts organization representative, and shortly after she was appointed treasurer, chair of the Outreach Committee and Housing Services Committee. She's created a Tenants Rights Workshop with the City of LA, abundant housing in LA, and much, much more. Jillian Burgos, welcome.
Hi,
Thank you for coming in.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to, have other perspectives. You work in a lot of different spaces here in the city, and I try to kind of help folks process some of the information that is happening, the things that are happening in City Hall that come up in the news, because I think sometimes, we have a tendency to just believe the first thing we heard or some little thing that we saw on TikTok or on social media without processing. And I think processing these things with other people who pay attention to politics is important. So I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the unhoused. Obviously, it's a crisis. But keeping people in houses is just as crucial, I think, because how do you ever end the unhoused crisis if more people are going in to the streets than you can pull out on any given day?
It's so true. They say 206 people exit homelessness every day on their, whether it's on their own or with the help of someone else, but 226 enter it. So we're kind of like, it's kind of like a boat with a hole in it. So we're just taking on water. And so renters are our priority. To me, I'm a lifelong renter, and I faced housing insecurity for much of my life. I'm also, as you mentioned, an essential worker and a small business owner, because to survive in Los Angeles, you have to work multiple jobs. I've had to live with multiple people. And, it really goes to show that for me in my life, just a couple $100s more was the difference of keeping me housed. And I think that's the same case for a lot of people.
Keeping you housed without having to be like, oh, well, how do I cut back on food? Like,
Exactly.
we shouldn't have to make those choices.
No. I feel like a lot of people in Los Angeles have been just surviving for a really long time. And that's not any kind of life. We need to help our people so they can thrive, so they can actually, enjoy their lives, take vacations. Like for some people, they're like, what is that? What's a vacation?
That would be me. So when you say you're a lifelong renter, does that mean you just don't want to buy, or you've been renting so far in your life?
Oh, I mean, that's not the case. I mean, if obviously, home ownership is the American dream, having that house with a white picket fence and 2 children and a dog playing in the backyard. That's the dream. But for a lot of us, it's just, I have 2 college degrees and I've worked really hard all my life, and it just seems further and further out of reach. It feels unattainable. And I think I'm not the only one who can say that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hear that all the time. I also know some financial wizards who have some formula about whether you should be renting or buying. I think in Los Angeles, that formula is probably skewed, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So what can and should renters be doing, as someone who organizes folks? I mean, I'm glad to see Mayor Karen Bass putting some emphasis on getting counsel for people who are, facing eviction and other means of keeping people in housing, not just trying to pull them out of the streets. But what should renters be aware of, be doing to sort of improve their personal plight and the plight of the renter in general?
Yeah, I think that one thing I'd like to see more renters unionize. I think there's a lot of us. I know in my district we have 60% renters, and we have the power. If we all come together, we see what unions can do for workers. Why isn't it doing the same thing for renters? And there are some, there's LA Tenants Union out there, but there needs to be more people joining. There also needs to be more people reaching out to their city council members. I think a lot of people are disenfranchised with government, so they just kind of stay out of it. But they need to show up to those city council meetings, and they need to make public comment. And if you can't show up because you're working, submit electronic public comment or try to call in if you can. Also, the neighborhood councils is a really greatly underused resource. Reach out to your neighborhood council members, because they are supposed to be your voice to city council.
And so you're saying reach out to them as a renter and say, hey, we need protections, we need programs.
We want you to reach out to our council member and ask them to do more. And also, every little thing that a city council member does that is beneficial to renters, we need to thank them, because we need to let them know, hey, you're doing a good job, but can we go further?
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent point, because it makes, not only affirms the decision, it makes them aware that you're paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and they need it. They need that support, especially like with the city budget that we saw being voted on, and only three council members voted against that budget. Council member Nithya Raman, Eunice Hernandez, and Hugo Soto Martinez. We need to thank them and let them know that we appreciate their hard work, because that's putting themselves on the line there. And, if they want to get their motions passed, they just kind of went out on the line there and said, we believe that Los Angeles deserves better. We believe that Los Angeles deserves preventative services over reactive services.
So, I've heard others celebrating that, they voted against the budget, and that is actually I know you said only three, but having three council members vote against the mayor's budget is significant.
It is.
Why did you cheer that move?
Because I believe that, for a long time, we've invested too far into reactive services, which has put us into the budget deficit that we are in now. And it's really going to hurt city services. So right now we're going to have less services, but we're going to be paying more money. And we deserve better than that.
And, of course, the mayor's been on this show. She comes here from time to time for Mornings with the Mayor. And she has said that she doesn't feel that it will hurt city services because they're cutting jobs that are currently not filled anyway.
They were okay. So in some cases, yes, but in some cases, they're jobs that were, recently vacated. And so since they're vacated now they're being cut, like especially with the city controller's office, and it's kind of stifling what they can do. And that's actually a department that's going to save us money.
Theoretically, yeah, because they audit things and say this is waste and this is. What would you like to see cut? Because it's always budgets are a zero-sum game. Well, to a point. Because people do some tricky accounting, but for the most part, it's a zero-sum game. You're either able to sustain that budget or you're not.
Yeah, well, I'm a member of LA Forward, and we really advocated for unarmed crisis response, and I think that our city needs a huge investment in mental health services. So I
Clearly.
believe, yeah.
I laugh, but that's laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many people who seem to be in extreme mental health crisis just walking around.
Yes, and we're allowing these people to suffer, and I think that we need to take care of our people. So I think that we could have shifted some of the money from the LAPD budget and shifted it to unarmed crisis response. Let's be honest, LAPD is unable to hire fully right now. So it's kind of like not even on the table whether they're going to use all of that money. They're getting this blank check, and this money could be diverted to mental health services, which we all know they don't want to answer mental health calls, nor are they properly trained to answer mental health calls. And so why don't we help them out by having more investment into unarmed crisis response?
Yeah. Then what does that look like, though? Because I feel like as progressives, and this is where we get into my unpopular opinions, that as progressives, we aren't always realistic about how quickly these services can be ramped up or how effective they are. Or, we want to say, well, unarmed response, which obviously is a great idea. And I feel like people balked at defund the police, but almost everyone understood that cops aren't homeless specialists. Cops aren't mental health specialists. And they shouldn't be responding to calls. They shouldn't even be forced to respond to calls that they're not qualified to cover.
Exactly.
But then I look at the 988 system and how long it's taking it to ramp up. Why? Because they can't find the workers, the mental health workers. You know what I mean? So are we, is that realistic? Are we ready? And I see a lot of progressives who are staunchly against the care courts. So if you're not willing to take people off the streets who are having an extreme mental health crisis and say, you know what, we're going to mandate care, and we don't have the mental health workers that are ready to staff up a 988 or staff up those response positions, then what are we really talking about in terms of solutions?
Yeah. I actually do think we have the mental health workers. We're just not paying them enough. So no one's going to go out there for, minimum wage when they can be in the private sector for more money. So we need to properly fund that. And we have the Circle program, and we want to expand it further. So we have it in District 1 and partially in District 4. But why is it not citywide? Why is the entire city not being serviced by this? And there's high success rates. It's been done in other cities. Why can Los Angeles, for some reason, not come to a conclusion with this?
Well, we're talking with Jillian Burgos. And I'd love to have you in the conversation, 800-920-1580. I know you all are in the chat. If you're not up on that, it's youtube.com. And then you just put KBLA 1580, and we take it from there. You can get in the conversation, ask a question, but of course, you're always welcome to call. We are talking all things left coast. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Hi, Tavis Smiley here. We're getting closer to June 18th, and time is running out for you to register to join us for our historic symposium live on C-SPAN, Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com right now if you want to be in the audience when the nation will see for the first time ever a stage full of brilliant black folk talking about the urgency of now. Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. It's all going down. Well, it's actually all going up. Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. live from the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Again, admission is free, but we're filling up fast. So if I were you, I would log on right now to KBLA1580.com to reserve your seat. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. We're KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables in-wash scent beads.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
I feel occasional burning and stabbing in my hands as I age.
I sometimes feel numbness and tingling in my feet as I get older.
It's starting to get in the way of doing what I love.
At Nervive, we hear you, and we can help. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use.
Now that I know, I'm taking control.
Try Nervive Nerve Relief and say yes to healthy nerves. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, you're back to me, and you're back to Jillian Burgos, who is, as she pointed out, an essential healthcare worker and a small business owner, but also an activist in important spaces here in Southern California, and that's what we deal with. Among them, an advocate for renters and people experiencing houselessness. What brought you to that space? I mean, there's so many issues we could focus on. I know that's a big one, but what made you personally say this is what I'm going to work on?
Well, myself being a lifelong renter and having been experiencing not knowing whether if my hours got cut at my job, I might be out on the street, you know. Also, I had several family members who died due to circumstances of poverty and socioeconomic inequality. And
wow.
Yeah. My cousin Lala, especially, she's the one who really, really drove me to this work. She lived in a housing project that was deemed a rampant crime area, so the entryway was blocked off. Her house had black mold in it, and she was a severe asthmatic. She had an asthmatic episode, called 911, and the ambulance couldn't get to her on time because of the barricade. And at age 39, she died and left 3 children motherless.
Wow. That's terrible. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and I just realized it really drove me into a depression, and I'm like, this could cripple me, or I can't let her die in vain. I need to fight for people like Lala so nobody loses the pillars of their family.
Yeah, that's terrible, terrible, terrible stuff. You just came back from a convention in San Francisco. Tell me about that.
I did. I was at California Working Families Party Convention, and they are building progressive power in California. They're a multiracial convention, and they basically help to get people elected that are going to work for the working class and not for corporations.
Yeah. So, I mean, most of us have heard about the, California Working Families Party because of that, because of their endorsements and support of candidates. But do you see that as more of a party or an organization, you know what I mean, an advocacy organization? Because we've had a lot of conversation about third-party candidates and building other parties outside of Democrats and Republicans in the context of the times we're in. I think largely driven by, this time, by a wave of young people who are just not happy in the Democratic Party, progressives mostly.
They work within the Democratic Party. They do have their own party, but they work within the Democratic Party because they know right now, with the way our two-party system is, that we have to wield power within the Democratic Party.
Yeah. A lot of folks within the state of California, people like me, who consider ourselves progressives, but also pragmatic. I did vote for Cornel West. If I felt like it was, I was in a swing state, though. If I was in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, Arizona, I would have voted for Biden with no hesitation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have family in Ohio, and I've implored them to vote blue.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like, the New York Times described my own brother as a pragmatic progressive, which I thought was funny because they, at first were very wary of him because he's quite progressive. He's the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. But I think that as progressives, we can be pragmatic. And I believe that if we're not, we're going to get buried because it is about ideals and it is about principles. But it is also about working families being able to put food on the table, keep the lights on, and not have to worry about being evicted, right?
Exactly. I mean, people should be able to work a minimum wage job and afford rent and to put food on the table and pay their bills and enjoy life. And that's not possible.
Yeah, it's definitely not possible in L.A. Even with the $20 an hour wage that fast food workers now garner, it would still be a stretch unless you were unless you were renting probably a room in somebody's house or something to be able to live on that.
And I've had to do that for many years, rent rooms in people's homes. currently, like I live with my partner in North Hollywood, and we have a 2-bedroom that's under market rate rent. So that's why we're able to afford it. We're very lucky. We will never leave. We deal with a lot of stuff. Renters put up with a lot of stuff in their places that are below market rent, you know.
I bet. I mean, I'm not a renter anymore. I haven't been a renter for more than 20 years because I bought something when they were affordable.
Yes, yes.
And even then it seemed like a big stretch, to be honest with you. But you know, we stepped out on faith and we're able to do it. But I remember how, you know, you're at the mercy of the landlord to fix things and everything, and you could do it yourself, but then now you're adding on to your rent by not, you know, by investing in something you don't own.
Exactly. And a lot of renters put up with things too because they're afraid of getting an eviction, and that's why these renter protections that they've passed recently at City Council are so important.
Yeah, we just have 25 seconds, well, 30, till news, traffic, and sports. But you want to quickly say what those are?
Yeah. So right to counsel. We know that 90% of landlords have a lawyer, and 90% of renters do not. So just cause evictions, which means you have to have an actual cause for eviction. Yeah, so those are some of the renter protections, and we're fighting for more.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds real basic, but if it's not in the law, then it ain't the policy. 800-920-1580 if you want to weigh in. We are unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. June is Pride Month, a month to celebrate the LGBTQ community and to honor their effort for equal rights. The first Pride marches were organized in 1970, a year after the Stonewall riots in New York City after a police crackdown on a gay bar. The idea spread as the years went on, and today there are celebrations in major urban areas around the globe. Rapper and singer Sean Kingston was booked into the Broward County, Florida's main jail overnight. The African-American rapper faces a long list of charges, including a more than $1 million criminal fraud scheme. The 34-year-old was transferred from San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department in California after waiving his right to fight extradition. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hey DQ fans! The ultimate cookie blizzard treat is the dessert that has it all. With Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and Nutter Butter, this blizzard treat has everything cookie lovers dream of. Don't wait! This one-of-a-kind confection won't be here long. Only at participating DQ. Find the perfect Father's Day gift with Macy's Gift Finder. In just a couple clicks, you'll get personalized gift ideas for every dad at every budget. Visit Macys.com/gift finder and give love today at Macy's.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Simone Biles let the world know she's ready for the Summer Olympics this year in Paris. The 4-time Olympic gold medalist won the all-around competition Sunday at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships for the 9th time in her career. The UCLA women's softball team was eliminated from the World Series. They lost to Stanford in the quarterfinals. UCLA finished a strong season at 43-12. The new ownership group of the NFL Washington Commanders, which includes Magic Johnson, is not going to deal with any drama from players or staff. The Commanders cut place kicker Brandon McManus a week after a lawsuit was filed against him by 2 women accusing him of sexual misconduct. The Washington franchise went through several allegations of sexual misconduct and harassment in the workplace under former owner Dan Snyder. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
What does it take on Alzheimer's? Awareness that nearly 2/3 of those diagnosed are women,
including Black women. Dedication to lowering your risk by eating healthy and monitoring blood pressure. And confidence to talk to your healthcare provider about screening and early detection. You have what it takes to take on Alzheimer's. Learn about signs and screening at takeonalz.com. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Have you heard of the 50-30-20 rule? This can help you spend and save your money wisely. So how does it work? Distribute your dollars into 3 buckets. 50% towards needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Use this tool to help your journey to financial success. Sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we got a lot going on around here, but that's what we do. 800-920-1580 if you want to weigh in. We're talking with Jillian Burgos. She's my partner in politics today, recognized in 2022 as by the NoHo Home Alliance for her service, working to find solutions to help people experiencing homelessness and bring housing issues to the forefront, especially for renters. Talk to me a little bit about the kinds of work that you were doing with the California Working Families Party Convention. I didn't even realize they were having a convention. So what were the rallying cries? What were some of the issues that were of importance there?
There was basically bringing to the forefront the housing crisis. We had several workshops. We learned a lot about wielding progressive power in California and for, stopping corporations from getting into political races and how we can all support each other. Also, obviously, they talked about Palestine and how to help Palestine in any way possible right now with everything that's going on. And we actually heard from Dolores Huerta was there and Barbara Lee. So we were there with the greats and really getting to learn from them and absorb them.
Yeah, I mean, Dolores Huerta is amazing. She's actually in her 90s.
Yes.
And she's still doing the work.
She is out there. She was still celebrating her birthday, and I asked her when her birthday was. She said April, and I'm like, yeah, you get to celebrate your birthday as long as you want.
Yeah, I think she's like 90 or 91 or something like that. But they're in the chat talking about how, Paulie, as usual, with the great points. He says that the median pay package for CEOs rose to $16.3 million, which is up 12.6%, according to data analyzed for the Associated Press by Aquilar, the company. And we know that wage gap continues to grow. Those are big issues, right, in the November election, which we talk about inflation, and we talk about housing prices and all these things that make life tougher for working families. But for some reason, and I think it's starting to come out a little bit more now, we don't talk enough about price gouging. We don't talk enough about the wage gap and how it's growing between the corporate class and the working class. And those are legit conversations that need to happen. There are some factors of inflation that I suppose Biden can impact. Most of those things are international, global issues. That maybe the after effects of COVID and the supply chain issues that we experience. But some of it is gouging.
Yes.
And when we see what's happening right now, where all these companies have magically decided to bring their prices down from Target to McDonald's, a logical thinking person should say, well, that means you could have done it all along. You're just now deciding to do this because consumers are fed up and they're not coming to the stores.
Yeah, we have to speak with our wallets and not give these corporations our money, and they will wield to us then.
I mean, I guess the question is, will that bring consumers back? And if it does, will they keep the prices down? I was on several rants about this, Jillian Burgos, when the fast food wage went up to 20, and all these, Chipotle and all these other companies were saying, well, we're going to raise our prices to pay for these wages for the workers. Instead of saying we're going to raise our prices because oil companies are gouging us, so now the cost to transport food is more, so it's going to be more expensive to make this burrito. Or, well, we have to pay our CEO 12% more than last year, and that's millions, so we're going to raise these prices. No, they make a talking point that teaches you to blame the worker when the prices go up, and it's just not the truth.
Absolutely. I mean, if minimum wage really kept up with where we should be with how rent prices are here in Los Angeles, we should be making $39 an hour, really realistically, in order to survive, especially if you have a family. I mean, for some people, having children is a dream, is a fleeting dream, because it's hard to just support yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And Paul's going on, he's on a rant right now, but it's interesting what he's saying. And at half of the companies in this year's pay survey, it would take the worker at the middle of the company's pay scale almost 200 years to make what the CEO makes. Yeah. And from my understanding, of history, the broader that gap gets, the more likely governments are to fall. So I would think that the fat cats would have an interest in, raising wages and dealing with this price gouging in a more aggressive way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to take governments stepping in to help people and to saying, no more to corporations, especially like investing in social housing. I think it's something that is really important that can be done. And we're starting to see that in city council. So that's exciting. We're seeing that exploration of it. And we just have to move further to take care of people and make housing a human right, because everybody, regardless of their ability to pay, should have their own home over their head.
I mean, I'm smiling because I agree with the concept. Housing should be a human right. I argued this on the show. I have some fun friends that don't agree because I feel like we need a floor. Everybody should at least be able to have a little apartment, healthcare, fire and public safety response without being rich. Just a floor. No one goes below that. Then if you want to, invent something or work 7 days a week or whatever it is you want to do, and you get a bigger house, that's on you. That's great. But the reason I smile is because I think this is an example of what I was talking to you before, Jillian, where I feel like as progressives, sometimes we just say things. And what does that really mean? Like, housing is a right. Ooh, yay. Okay, but there's tons of people on the street. So what does it actually mean? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah. I mean, it means
that
we need to
platitudes.
It means that we need to crack down on corporate landlords buying up all of this real estate. We need to crack down on illegal Airbnbs, which we should have been doing this entire time. And we need to actually enact some laws on corporate landlords that are driving out small businesses out of our communities, because those are jobs in our communities. Every time a small business closes, 10 to 12 people are affected there, and their livelihoods are affected, and they might have to move out of the community because they can no longer afford to live there.
Yeah. Well, I think the cracking down on corporate landlords is something that can be done now. When you talk about housing, are you talking about government getting more into the housing business, the state, the cities, the counties, in terms of owning housing
absolutely.
stock?
Yeah, owning housing stock. I believe that cities like in Singapore and like in Vienna, they can do it, and it's been proven and it's worked. And why can't we do that here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I imagine city or county or state owned housing, I think of the housing projects, which never have been the best. But it does seem like with the cost that it takes right now, or what we're constantly hearing and reading in the media, how much it costs to build a unit for one unhoused person, it seems prohibitive in the fact that couldn't we cut costs if the state was building those houses and owning them, or the city or the county?
I mean, I definitely think we can all agree that there's a misuse of funds there too as well. It shouldn't cost $800,000 to house one person. Actually, I don't know if you saw the report on 4118 that came out that proved that it was totally ineffective, and
4118, the anti-camping ordinance, yes.
Yes, that $3 million was spent and 2 people out of that were housed. 2 people for $3 million. How many people could we have housed with that $3 million? How many renters could we have just given like a universal basic income to stay in their housing?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the universal basic income experiment has been so important and so revealing in the fact that most people who get those extra dollars actually improve their lives.
Yes.
They actually do not go and buy a Gucci purse and some weed.
Right.
You know,
they use it to feed their children, to catch up on maybe credit cards or bills, and they stay housed.
Yeah. I mean, to me, and I bring it up a lot because I feel like that flies in the face of some misconceptions we have about poor people, and that it bolsters this idea that, in fact, I think there was, I can't remember where the study was from, but there was an article in the LA Times a couple weeks ago about how an extra $1,000 or a couple $100
it's a small
month
amount
can actually keep a lot of people housed that are currently in housing. And when you compare that to $500,000 or $800,000 for, one unit of housing, it seems like a better investment of money. They were talking about informal housing network, people who rent a room or sleep on a couch or in a not up to code situation. And that extra $500 to $1,000 could keep them there, which might not be a perfect world, but it's not them sleeping in a tent.
Exactly.
And at the mercy of the elements and blocking your business or the school or whatever.
Yes, exactly. And we also don't talk about the harm that we've caused people with 4118, with displacing them and causing trauma. A lot of these people, lose their IDs, they lose their birth certificates. But not only that, they lose family trinkets. I saw this tweet where someone talked about losing the last letters from their grandmother to them, and how that really just hurt them so deeply. And I think that housed people don't see houseless people as people, and that's the problem. We have to start seeing people like people and treating them like people.
Interesting. Again, back to my pragmatic progressivism. I think for an unhoused person, it would be like being in a fire. If someone scoops up all your stuff and throws it away and you can never get it back, and that's terrible.
Terrifying.
Terrible and terrifying. And I've seen that the impact as far as IDs. How do you get an ID if you don't have... On the other hand, I think that we as progressives, we're just like, well, they can't lose their ID, so let's leave the encampment there. That's not going to be a fair solution for the people that are housed, that, many of those working class families, not that working class families should have rights that wealthy or upper middle class don't, but that's just not how our society is set up. I mean, if you are unhoused and you're camping in front of someone's business and now their business can't function, that they do have a legit beef. If I have to take my kid somewhere to the park and now it's an encampment and my kid can't play, but my taxes are paying for that park, I also have rights, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You have rights. We're just saying to prioritize people first and to try to expedite services, get people into housing, also with wraparound services. So you can't just, get them an apartment. They also need services like job placement, job training, mentorship, mental health services. We have to do all of these things. And I believe that there's just so much vacant retail space here in Los Angeles, especially after the pandemic.
You're talking about malls and office buildings.
Yeah, all this space. Why are we not transforming it into interim housing and getting people
those graffiti towers, for example? Couldn't we seize that? I know that's complicated. It's an international issue, but we, the city of Los Angeles, are paying police to secure a building. I know they're saying now they're switching over to security, But both of those are not good investments.
Not at all.
You wanted to build this tower and you didn't get it done. Now it's our tower. Let's finish it and put some people in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that company has done that all over the country. It's not only here in Los Angeles. They've done it in several different cities where they've, built these beautiful luxury buildings and then abandoned them.
Talking with Jillian Burgos and you. We got a lot to talk about. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Medicare Fraud Prevention Week focuses on the actions everyone can take to prevent Medicare fraud, errors, and abuse. Learn how to protect yourself and your loved ones by joining the Senior Medicare Patrol, or SMP, for Medicare Fraud Prevention Week, June 3rd through the 9th. Learn more at snpresource.org or by calling 1-877-808-2468.
Did you know that streaming music, ebooks, audiobooks, movies, and more is available for free from the Los Angeles Public Library? With your library card, you can access the latest music and movies, audiobooks and ebooks, graphic novels, comic books, magazines, and more. If you don't have a library card and live in the city of Los Angeles, you can get a digital card online for free. Check it out at lapl.org/emedia. That's lapl.org/emedia.
Have you been a victim of discrimination at a private business, by a landlord while seeking housing, by an employer, or by an academic institution? If so, the LA Civil Rights Department may be able to help. Please contact us at CRE@lacity.org or call 213-978-1845. Again, 213-978-1845, or visit laisforeveryone.com.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth.
Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome. We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Jillian Burgos is our guest partner in politics. Appreciate the conversation. She's an advocate who is also running for public office in the next election for CD2, Council District 2. We'll talk more about that when we get closer to the election. But if you have seen the name, then that is why. You can find her at JillianForTheValley.com, JillianForTheValley.com. That's where you stay at. That's where you live. Let's talk about this. You mentioned it in passing, Palestine, Israel. Typically, I talk about issues such as that in our second hour where we look at national and international topics. But certainly it has local impact. We've got a strike going on. We've got the UC Union, this almost 50,000 teaching assistants, researchers, and academic workers. They are expanding their strike, calling on thousands of workers at a bunch of different campuses.
Absolutely.
To walk off the job. So far, that's 6 out of the 10 campuses that are involved. It's UAW 4811. They're saying that their free speech is being abridged, and because of the way that universities have reacted to protests around Palestine.
Yeah, I believe that, protest is our right, and for students' voices to be stifled is, really just, it's concerning, and for the way that they've been treated and not protected. So I think that students know they're on the cusp. They're going to have to deal with the repercussions of this war for the rest of their lives, and that we need to listen to them. I believe that.
Go ahead.
I believe that right now, basically, the military-industrial complex is profiting off of this, and that's why this is ongoing, and that we need to stop that. No one wants to see women and children being slaughtered in our name.
Yeah, the UC leaders are saying that it's going to harm students, this strike, at an important point, which, some are graduating, some have already graduated. But, protest is never gonna, if it doesn't have any impact, then what is it gonna do? They cleared off UC Santa Cruz this weekend. The university sent in the cops. They arrested students. We've seen it at campus after campus. And we don't know if any union members have been arrested as part of this. But the university said students were blocking the entrance to the campus. They told them to move. They wouldn't move, and that's when they arrested them.
Protest is meant to be uncomfortable. It's meant to create change. So that the students are actually being successful in what they're doing, but their rights to do that should be protected.
Yeah, one of the things that really bothers me about it is that they're targeting students in terms of academic punishment and even looking to cripple their ability to make a living after they graduate. With Harvard withholding degrees from 13 students, probably many of those first generation, and different universities, Columbia, targeting businesses that were planning to hire these students and telling them do not hire. That seems very draconian, very it's very McCarthyism-ish to me. And I'm having a hard time getting my mind around how. And meanwhile, not all schools are doing this. Some are actually negotiating with their students, coming up with, working agreements that could further dialogue rather than arresting their own students.
And that's how it should work. They should be coming to agreements and bringing the students to the table. I think that students have been stifled. Their voices have been stifled for so long, and that's why they're speaking out now. They're not going to be stopped.
I mean, it's what students do. Like,
yeah.
It's like have you met students? I mean, this has happened all throughout history. Why are you shocked and not prepared? It's stupid to me. Sorry. I know you're like academic institutions. You're supposed to be smart. So why are you acting so stupid? Yeah. So, but the board, the UC system is saying these strikes are illegal because the union has a no strike clause. But the board sided with the union. So it continues for now. Time flies when you're on the radio. I'm so glad you could come in. Tell us how to stay in touch with you and what you want to leave us with this morning, yes. Jillian Burgos.
Thank you so much for having me. You can find me at Jillian FORCD2 on all socials. We love making videos that teach the public about different things like 311, how to stay housed, different resources that are out there. Please, shoot me a DM, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on all socials. And Jillian, FORthevalley.com is our website.
Excellent. You're on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Gotta be on
Guess
there.
what, Miles? I'm on TikTok, too. Ha! What? I only have one video up. Miles has been on my case to get on TikTok for, about a year, maybe 2 years, something like that.
3-year anniversary coming up, yeah.
Yeah, 3 years. Okay, yeah, since we got on the air. I finally did get on TikTok over the weekend, but I only have one video, so it's not like... But it's all of those are under Jillian FORCD2.
Mm-hmm.
A number 2.
Yes, the number 2.
All right. And we will, I'm sure we'll talk to you closer to the election, find out what's happening with your campaign, but definitely appreciate your insights as far as the local scene and what is going on the left coast. Is so much. And we will, we've got our Mindful Monday coming up. We'll unpack the national politics. I think Nabu's going to sit in with me for that so you can get a Gen Z perspective. All that straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. June is Pride Month, a month to celebrate the LGBTQ community and to honor their effort for equal rights. The first Pride marches were organized in 1970, a year after the Stonewall riots in New York City after a police crackdown on a gay bar. The idea spread as the years went on, and today there are celebrations in major urban areas around the globe. Rapper and singer Sean Kingston was booked into the Broward County, Florida's main jail overnight. The African-American rapper faces a long list of charges, including a more than $1 million criminal fraud scheme. The 34-year-old was transferred from San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department in California after waiving his right to fight extradition. And
Finder and give love today at Macy's.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Simone Biles let the world know she's ready for the Summer Olympics this year in Paris. The 4-time